And it looks like I'm live. Hey, look at that, y'all. This is David, the Georgia photographer, and I'm coming to you live from Trenton, Georgia. Okay, I need, where's my chat box? Oh, man. I am using a Mac now because my PC died, and OBS on my Mac is different from OBS on my PC. So I don't have the chat window yet. Let me get that going. Let's see. What did I do to get that? Oh yeah, do it this way. Panel. Trying to get there, guys. So just hold on a second. We'll see if I can get it to pull up. It should. Oh wait, I got to go this way. Let me refresh the page. See if it shows me in the options. Oh, it shows Phil's string from the other day. That's because can I change this? Oh no. I am so sorry, y'all. This never-ending stream of heartache for me. Why is it like this for me every single time? I'm looking for it. As soon as I figure it out, let me see, maybe right here, docs. There we go. Nope, that's stats. Well, the chat's not on here now. Oh, guys, I will sort this out. Yeah, let's just go here and see. Now, there we go. Let's see. Load it. Come on. Come on. And I'll cheat and go here, and then we'll look up me. See what comes up. Looks like it's pre-populated some information. Oh.
Load it.
Come on. There. Mute me. Now the chat's up, but I'm seeing it with a significant delay. So, okay. Let me see. Can I break out the chat box? Pop out chat. There we go. Now I have the chat separated from the window. But, whew, man, this has been kind of a mess. But I got it up and going. So there we go. Alright. I do not know why it's showing the picture it's showing. I need to figure that out. I'll probably do it later. I tried to put a title in, but it didn't give me one. So now it's gave you that, and I don't know why. I don't know. I went through the settings on this thing. Who knows? At this point, I'm just streaming. All right. I had a few things to talk about tonight, and I was just wanting to talk to you guys about them. Hopefully the fan noise from the computer isn't so loud to y'all. I've got the mic moved as far away as possible. It's it right here so that it's further from the noise, and we'll see how it works. As far as the streaming, I got my computer in the shop, and we're pretty sure it's a dead motherboard. And as soon as I get that fixed, I'll be streaming like I should be. But until then, we're making do with what we have. Hassan's here. How you doing, Hassan? Thank you for joining. Something like I've got it's sort of a potpourri of subject matter tonight. One thing is, what do I do when I don't feel inspired to go out and do photos? I mean, we've all been there, and everybody's given their kind of 2 cents worth. Whew. I always start yawning when I stream. I think it's the talking. You know, I'm not intaking enough air. But this is what I wind up doing. Oh. All right. I had to read a text message. One of the things I do is I look at photo books. The Americans by Robert Frank is like a classic. And if you've never looked at his photos, what they are is these were all shot in the 30s, I think. I'm pretty sure they were all shot in the 30s. The cars look that period. Charleston, South Carolina. It just has a simple like text that tells you, kind of gives you context of like where the photo was captured. Almost none of them talk like en route from New York to Washington D.C. on the club car. It's on the train, you know. Of course, he's shooting film. Backyard, Venice, West California, you know. And you can see there's a cool old car there that wasn't old then. It's just parked in, it's just a dead car. There is a picture of Chattanooga, Tennessee in here, but I can't tell where it's at. It's all the background people are blurry. But yeah, this is a cool photo book that gives me inspiration. I've got several. I've got one from William Eggleston over there, and then I have what's the one with Richard Avedon, Into the American West. That's a really cool book if you like portraiture. He did a huge photo project that spanned about 4 years, where he took a huge view camera and shot 8x10 sheet film portraits of all these people out west, and the portraits are incredible because he didn't have them like he didn't tell them to smile for the photos. They could just be themselves, and so you know you get all of these different expressions, and it's really interesting to see that. If you haven't looked at that book, I bought a used copy off of Amazon. It was kind of pricey, just to tell you the truth. I think this was actually a brand new book. I think someone's printing fresh one. Yeah, it's a brand new copy. But yeah, but Robert Frank's The Americans, where he basically did a road trip across the United States and photographed it. It's a really cool book. Well, that's in the 50s. That looks like a 50s era Buick in this picture. So yeah, maybe it was in the 50s when he done it, but I don't know exactly. But I can read the forward, I guess, but I ain't gonna read it to you. Yeah, it's several pages. It's a good book, trust me on that one. Then I have a couple from some of my subscribers, actually. I got a couple of their books as well. The chat is either not populating or no one's watching. And I did strike up the stream kind of late. But, you know, here we are. It's 9 p.m. Eastern. What you gonna do? So I just did a stream. Another thing I do is I'll change lenses. Now here's the irony. All three of these are 35 millimeter. Every one of these is a 35 millimeter lens. Not all of them are full frame though. This one's APS-C. And now, here's another thing. But if you'll change up your focal length, it gives you a new perspective. I'll put this down. I've kind of gotten spoiled to these little TT Artisan lenses. Look how small, you take this lens cap off, look how tiny that lens is. That's 35 f1.4, it's just a little bitty thing. It's basically, which you bear in mind, this is a Leica M-mount lens. I unlatched it. It's got this M adapter L on it, but I don't know which way to turn it now. There it goes. That's a 35 millimeter f1.4 full frame. That's the beauty and magic of rangefinder glass. Now, so we get this thing back together. There's the dots. There we go. But to get it to fit my CL or SL2, I have to run this adapter called the M adapter L. And you can get like simple ones that are just a ring, conversion ring that puts the gauge line out. But this one actually has electronics in it. You see how it's got contacts? That allows the camera to know that you have an M-mount lens on the camera, and it remaps some of the controls because of the M-mount lens, and that's kind of cool. I wished I had that functionality without the M adapter L. I wished it, if you were shooting without the lens, it remapped the controls like it did with that. I don't know why it does that. I know that some of the Leica M-mount lenses are what they call 6-bit coded, and this adapter will pass that coded information to the camera, and it'll record EXIF data. It'll record focal length, and I think it'll record the aperture setting that you set the camera to, you know, things like that. I don't know if it'll set like focus distance, but I know it'll tell it what kind of lens it is, and probably what aperture you were on. But I don't quote me on that. Another thing, as of late, switching gears once again, is that turn that volume down now. That's the repeater ID in at the top of the hour. Another thing is these lenses don't come with lens caps, and I don't know what that's about. Well, I mean, not lens caps, lens hoods. The whole you have to buy lens hoods separate thing has become a phenomenon here lately. It's like they're saving money, and so these don't ship with the lenses anymore. Now, if you buy manufacturer's native glass, it seems like they still come with lens hoods, but all these aftermarket ones don't seem to ship with them anymore, and I have to buy them from Amazon. So, like, I got this one. These are quick attach. They have a bayonet on the front of the lens that's similar to the bayonet that mounts on a regular, like, F mount Nikon, or, you know, RF mount, Z mount, what have you. So you stick it on and you line it up and lock it in place, and that's kind of nice. The lens cap fits down inside of it so that you can actually get the lens cap off. It's kind of a little bit of a pain to get the lens cap on, but it works. But I've got that one. That's what I was showing you here. This lens doesn't, it comes with a lens cap that screws on. It's a little plate that screws over the front of the lens to protect it. And they're around here somewhere. I just don't know exactly where they're sitting right now. But I buy these little lens hoods. Aaron of Aaron's Life got me into this. He was the one that sent me a link to one for one of my vintage lenses, and once I figured out you could buy these thread-on lenses, it's just game on. And they'll come with a little lens cap even, so you can put a lens cap with a lens hood on your lens, and this keeps you from banging it into stuff and hitting the corner on stuff and dinging it up. Plus it gets rid of a little bit of glare. And then, like this 35 F095 that I got here recently, the review is in the videos. It comes with a lens hood that covers the front element, but this one, to get it to where it doesn't like give me vignetting, I have to well, I had to get this bigger one. They make one that just cylinders out, but I was getting vignetting. But these cutouts on the back simulate M-mount lenses. On the M-mounts, if you see the square lens hoods, they'll only have one corner cut out. But these M lenses, they have that cut out because the rangefinder window sees through that part of the lens hood, and if it's solid, then you get a blacked out corner. And that's why they cut it out. That's where the original cutting out the lens hood came from. And on these, they do it just because it looks cool. Yeah, you might can put this on a 35 millimeter or on a, what size thread pitch is this? 52 millimeter screw thread that would go on an M-mount camera, but most likely not. But yeah, they cut it out, and they do that because it's cool. You know, it looks good. So this lens comes with a plate that screws on it as well, just like the other TTRs and lenses. But the lens is super nice. It takes wonderful photos, and I've got them pulled up. I was going to do a YouTube video of a town, and I still may, but I'll probably go back and reshoot some of the footage. But I was kind of scouting a town nearby. It's called South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, and while I was scouting it, I was taking some photos, kind of just doing test shots, because what I'm wanting to do is go back at night when it's wet, and it's raining today. So hopefully it's supposed to rain this weekend. Hopefully I can slip back over there maybe Saturday evening and get some photos, because there is a really cool, let me pull up my window. Yeah. We'll just show you this. All right, these are the test photos, or the, how you would say it, the scouting images from South Pittsburg. I saw this kiosk and I got this photo straight on, and you know, it gets you, it looks kind of cool, but the one I really like is this one. I like this view. I like how the kiosk protrudes out over the sidewalk all the way to the road. It's, you know, if you dropped a plumb line from the front of that, it's probably all the way to the road. But I'm hoping that they light it up at night. And with the road wet, that being a concrete thoroughfare through town, it's going to reflect the colors of that sign perfectly. There's not going to be a blue cast to it because of the asphalt being blue or something. That's going to be a cool photo. That one and the one across the street, there'll be some like angular angles. But, you know, as I walk around town, I just snap photos of what I see. Like the park bench is kind of interesting. I love the textures on it. Thought that's pretty cool. Looking, you know, it just got my attention. By the way, they are the home of the Cornbread Festival. And it's because Lodge Cast Iron has their foundry right behind this building. If you go over behind this flagpole, if you just went that way, behind the building about 2 blocks, you would be in the foundry. It's just a couple blocks over from Main Street. But they kind of host it. So the South Pittsburg, the United States Stove Company, is their competition, if I'm right. I thought that's interesting, and I grabbed a photo of it. And then there's just some interesting, like, it's architecture, like you can see where they've built the doorway, and at one point they had a roof over the doorway when this was a functioning dock, and you can tell they were shedding water at one point to access that dock. You know, it was just cool. The textures is what I was really going after here more than anything. And then there's that again. And then this Dixie Freeze will look cool, because if all of this neon is alive and they crank that up at night, this background will be blacked out, plus the sun sets over this way somewhere, because I'm facing west in this photo. So you could do an evening sunset with the evening sky turning bluish purple, you know, getting dark, and then have the neon lit up against it, and maybe even get down here at the street, because I was backed up because I was using 35mm. So get some kind of a wide angle lens and get down here at the street, and maybe get down low to where you can shoot up and you can kind of eliminate the mountain maybe, and just have the sky coming across the top of this and have the neon lit up against it. I don't know, something like that. And I thought it was kind of cool how these people were gathered around the window ordering. But just grabbing general photos of stuff. Some kind of another little restaurant that's seen, you know, its heyday is came and went. Like I said, I'm scouting. And then this bridge is real iconic to South Pittsburg. And I was trying to find an angle where I could get the bridge without having to be out over the water. And there's not even like a dock area I could get on real easy. So I was down in some factory's storage lot at the end of a street. And I was just shooting across all these pallets of whatever this powder is. I'm pretty sure it's something that supports the foundry down the street, but I don't know what it is. It may be lime, you know, crushed limestone, or lime for the slag, you know, to flux the iron or something. I don't know. But they had pallets and pallets and pallets and pallets of that stuff. I don't know what that is, but there was a lot of it. But these are just some test photos I was shooting. And these are all straight out of camera. None of these have had literally any edits done to them. They're straight off the memory card. As you can see over here, they're still, it's the file number off the memory card, right off the camera. 1/320th of a second for this. I was shooting at f8 at 1/640th where I was controlling light. 1/500th. What I was doing was I was trying to expose for the shadows a little bit, because it being such high contrast light, you need a little more, you know, you need a 2/3 of a stop or so of exposure compensation to get it exposed properly. And I was messing with that to get these dark shadows filled in a little bit. But yeah, let's see if I do this. Hey y'all. But that's what that's about. Let me get back over here. Let's see. Oh look, some other people have checked in. What we got? No Victoria. How you doing tonight? Thank you. Let's see. C2C Disciple made it. 35 millimeter. Thought you figured you shot longer focal lengths, but that was a while back when I heard you say that. Yes, I did. Hey, there's Ray. How you doing, Ray? Thank you for stopping by for a minute. I know you won't stay up late because you probably got to get up early and go to work. The 35 millimeter has been a kind of a recent addition. What I done was I moved to 50. You know, I got a 50 millimeter SL lens here, and I really kind of like 50. When I got to really looking at it, I was shooting 50s on the XT3, 50s, 55s, 58s, whatever, and I did like the compression of that depth of field and such, but the 50 is where I really settled in, because it kind of gives me field of view, plus I can still get a good portrait out of it. And on APS-C it pretends it's a 75, so you know, once you get the framing right, you've got that field of view that's similar to a 75. I mean, it gives you compression like a 50, which is kind of weird, but you know, it works. It works really well. It's kind of a good happy medium, and the 35 on my APS-C machines, you know, gives me that same field of view or look or whatever the word is. So it allows me to have very similar characteristics really easily. I haven't been shooting the Voigtlander mainly because of this tab, and I made a video about that. The whole tabbed focus is really not for me. It's just not my jam, that's all. It's not bad, it's not good, but I mean, on a rangefinder camera it's probably great, but on a little APS-C digital mirrorless, I just want a focus ring. So I bought this lens after that one, or I think it was after, but it has a circular aperture and focus ring, and they have nice positive grip, and they work super well. This lens became the one I ran on my CL until TT Artisans emailed me and asked me if I wanted to review the 35095. And take the lens hood off, because they send metal caps, they don't send lens hoods. And this lens, I like it a lot, and it's got this texturing for the aperture ring, and the focus is similar, but it's weird. It's not as aggressive, but it works. It's kind of, I don't know how much thinking they put into that, but it actually works. And I like it. It works okay. I've kind of it's grown on me. At first I didn't really care for it because I really like the knurled, because I've gotten used to having, you know, knurled lenses with metal rings and things. But this one, yeah, it's got nice good detents. I mean, sounds good, don't it? But this lens it's crisp. It's a beautiful lens. And I bought the lens cap off of Amazon. Well, the lens hood comes with a cap. When you buy these little lens hood kits, they'll come with a lens cap, which is kind of nice. And I remember they're not a lot. I don't know, $20 or something. But let's see what I've missed here. C2C says, I've got Legacy glass primes, shorter, wider focal length that I like, but now I EDC a 24 to 120 Z lens and a 100 to 400 Tamron with an adapter. Makes me think I don't like using my feet. No, you don't, because you can see all the way over there. Give me a clue, guys. Is the fan noise real bad? At some point, the fan controller chip in my Mac has failed, and the fans run at full speed all the time. They don't never spool down until you shut down the computer. So I don't know when that happened, but they have. And like I said, they're running wide open right now. And I moved the mic way over here to get it away from it. And if it's loud, I'd like to know. I'm trying to sort this out till I get my computer back out of the shop. But yeah, there's some decent focal lengths. I still work with prime. I don't know. I kind of like moving around, and getting down low and climbing up in chairs and all sorts of stuff, and walking across the street, walking out in the road. That's the only drawback to shooting primes when you're out in an urban environment. Nope, not bad. And I've got headphones on. Good. Thank you so much for that, because that's a big help. I have a, it's not a lecture, it's what do they call it when you're a guest speaker? The Long Island CW Club, which is a big Morse code club. You can Google it. It's Long Island, New York. Long Island CW Club has a calendar, and they populate that calendar out about 4 or 5 months in advance with speakers. And I was asked to speak on QRP-CW, and that is lingo for little tiny Morse code radios, and why I like Morse code and small radios. So I get to talk about that for an hour this coming Saturday on a Zoom call to, I don't know how many people they've got queued up, but it's quite a few from what I understand. Apparently they have a lot of attendance in these events, so they get a lot of different speakers. But yeah, that was one of the things I was wanting to confirm. I didn't have an easy way of doing that, and this seemed like an easy way. So thanks, C2C, for that. But yeah, I'll jump back to where I was at. Let's see here. Oh, Scriptwick's here. Nice. David, I recently bought a 16 to 50 2.8 lens, super sharp, but it is a large, heavy lens. I got it mainly because it is a weather-resistant lens. Nice. Now, he says it's a WR lens. What that means, it's a Fujifilm lens. They have selected certain lenses from their lineup that they have weather sealed so that you can shoot them in wet environments. A lot of their primes are WR rated. I didn't know that the 16 to 50 was. That's nice to know. That's their upgraded version of the kit lens. It's significantly bigger than the kit lens, but it's also got a full stop to where the kit lens has a variable aperture. It's a constant 2.8 across the range. It's beautiful glass. It's like if you was going to stick with the Fujifilm platform, I would absolutely recommend that be your general purpose lens, because it's just that good. It really is. Yaesu rules. Ella Craft. I really can't say much. I should dismount the camera, but I'm not sure where all the cabling's actually going. But there's a Yaesu FT736R VHF UHF that's currently on the 1 1/4 meter band, sitting right there, the big bass rig. You can Google it. And then below it is all Tentec. I have a heavy Tentec fetish. Aaron complains about it every time I talk to him. But his complaint is legit though, because Tentec radios are starting to show their age. They're getting older, and as you know, electronics get old, the capacitors typically start failing in them, and they start dying over time. You have to go in and do a lot of work to them to keep them alive, and you can't get some of the parts anymore because the business is basically out of business. So the company is basically out of business. It's just the way it is. But yeah. Now, I should get a mirror so I can hit the mirror off the camera and show you guys, but it's literally, let's see, you probably can't tell. Yeah, there's the FT736, the Omni 7, the Omni 6 station down below it. Yeah, you can't really tell. Get this back over here. Oh, there we go. Is it level? Yeah, it's close enough. But, yeah. Oh, it's Pentax. Okay, thank you. I was thinking that the Fujifilm was 16 to 55. because their kit lens is 18 to 55, and they went 2 millimeters bigger and made it a constant f2.8. All right. Pentax is awesome equipment. No, that's a Minolta camera. I had a Pentax K1000 for a while, but I think I sold it. Their digital cameras are pretty doggone sweet, just to be honest with you. Well, look at there. Cuban Rum jumped in. How you doing tonight? Thank you for stopping by. Jason here. C2C says, I wanted 35, but played more with the 28 and messed around with a few 50s and ended up with 40. That's funny. When I get the urge to go 28 millimeter, I get out the vintage, what's this, Super Multi-Coated Tacomer Asahi Optical Company 28 f3.5. Because I normally stop down when I'm out in the city shooting. I don't hardly ever shoot my 28 wide open. But even at f3.5, it's still pretty nice. But this is an awesome lens. And yeah, that's my 28 that I get out and carry around. I don't have another 28. I got the 28 f2.8 Nikkor, but it's in the cabinet. But I just like this one. There's something about this lens is just fun to use. But yeah, that solves my 28 millimeter itch. I keep it on the shelf right behind the camera here. Let's see. That's kind of funny. You ended up on 40 millimeters. Yaesu's cool radio. I think Aaron got a Yaesu. He got the FTDX10, I think, which is the smaller one. Pretty nice. I have an ICOM in this bag, a little 705 QRP radio. And the one I use today is a little Pentec TR35. It's just a tiny little thing. It's about half the size of that K1. The K1 I just showed y'all, this is the radio I took to Hawaii because I was able to put it in my everyday messenger bag with the battery, the antenna, all of the connecting cable, my headphones, and my Morse code key, because this is Morse code only radio. The whole radio kit fit in the Peak Design Everyday Messenger, and I walked it on the airplane, so I didn't have to check it. And I actually made contacts all over the United States, up into Alaska, I think 1 or 2 Canadians, with this little tiny radio and 7 watts. Yeah, that's one of my favorite little radios. It's cool. Scriptwick says, this is the Star lens, the expensive Pentax top glass lenses. Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, I haven't looked at their stuff lately. It's been a little bit. I think the last time I gave it a serious look was when I got my CL, and that was about two or 3 years ago. It's been a minute. And as Maverick said when he got in the F-16 or F-15, I don't remember. I think it's F-15, wasn't it? But y'all will correct me in a minute. I don't remember. The one with the wings that fold out. I ain't gonna ever be allowed to fly any of them, so it don't matter. Making sure I haven't missed anything in the chat. Let's see. I have not. Let's do this. All right, what you're looking at now is my website. If you've never been to it, shame on you. No, really. What I wanted to share with you was not so much the photos. You know, you can kind of see what I like to take pictures of here. You know, it's all stored here. And then there's nature photos here. You know, you got the blue mott and waterfalls. If you look close at this picture, that's Phil Thatch right there. I kind of wanted him in the picture because he was using like 14 millimeters up in front of it, but I wanted him in the photo for a size comparison, so that it would show up. But you know, I've got little hummingbirds and you know the usual stuff that people photograph when they photograph wildlife, like a deer fly, birds. usual stuff. Anyway, what I was going after here was the photography blog. If y'all are not reading it, I write these and put them out typically on Wednesday. They come live, they go live. There's quite a few queued up to release, but I've been putting some blog posts here, and I just kind of felt the urge to do this as opposed to making videos. I don't know why. I'm making videos too. I'm not stopping that, but I just wanted to do this because it's just kind of fun. I don't know what the deal is with it, but it's just kind of fun, and to be honest with you, to me, doing this is easier than making a video. There's so much that I have to remember when I shoot a video. I inevitably forget something. Even if I make a shoot list, I will still forget to get something. I'll get into the edit and I'll realize I need a clip of some kind or something that I don't have. And it frustrates me. And I have to make a punch list and go back and reshoot and get all that. But yeah, I just wanted y'all to know that I had a blog. I wanted to share that with you. Another thing is I write an amateur radio blog on my same page, and as you can see, this is the Omni 6 that's literally at the bottom of the stack over here. That's what the bottom radio looks like. This one just happened to be for sale at that Hamfest. We're about to rebuild a few of these. This is the radio that's sitting on the middle shelf. But yeah, I like Elecraft and Ten-Tec radios. I don't know, just me. There's the Pentec radio in the background there, the one I was talking about. Let's see here, I got a better photo of that. There it is. See how little it is? That's the rig I was using today. It kind of looked exactly like that. I was actually at the same park, but I was doing Parks on the Air. But yeah, there's contact logs and things, but where I did Ybor City in Florida. But you get the idea. And then I've started a page about what I shoot with, which y'all all know this because I talk about it in my videos so much. But for people that wander across the website, they don't see my videos all the time, so there's that. Okay, I wanted to share that with you guys, and sometimes people don't see everything. Let's see. Cuban Rum says, still using your CL? Yes, sir. It's right here. Matter of fact, I was shooting with it just the other day. No. Yeah. When I shot some of these photos, and what I'm trying to do is, I was scouting since I was shooting in the daytime, and I was trying to figure out, this is a little town down the road from where I live. I was looking for interesting things to photograph. I'm going to go back at night after it's rained when the road's wet, and I want to get this kiosk lit up. I'm pretty sure these Princess words light up. They might not, but I'm pretty sure they do. And of course the kiosk will. So, and then if they turn on the lights on the sidewalk will have a nice light spill on it. It'll be cool. Probably need to just go over there before they're open and drag this potted plant down the street about 12 feet. So it's more balanced. But yeah, I actually used it for that just the other day. But this is my carry around go-to camera. The film camera I've been talking about here lately, this R8, I've been shooting with it some just to play with film. And so I've been carrying this one around, but it's not as easy to use. Yeah, I messed around with it the other day, so now I have found if I hit the button to do double exposures, even though I can't technically do double exposures, that it doesn't work right. It resets the counter, and I don't know if it's supposed to do that, but of course the camera is 25 years old, so I think this is a 98 model, but yeah, I'm shooting the CL. The SL2 is actually what's filming the live stream. I'm streaming on the Leica SL2, but Let me get myself sorted out here. I was saying earlier, what do I do if I'm not just feeling it, if that's the right word about it? One of the things I was saying was is I like to look at books, like lots of photographers, and I like to look at the greats in my book, or in my opinion, and Robert Frank is one of the greats. I've got a William Eggleston book, I've got a Richard Avedon book, I've got Robert Frank, and a few others, but yeah, if I'm trying to get motivated to get my mind right, if that's the right word, then looking at these kind of gets me thinking that way. Another thing I'll do is I'll just put the camera down for a week. Doesn't hurt anything, and I'll make, like, I've got a log book or a journal or whatever you want to call it, and I'll make notes about things I want to photograph, and especially if it's something nearby, you know, an old structure or maybe a scene somewhere, and I'll make those notes, and then I'll just try to work off that list and see if I can come up with an interesting photo of that event and go do that, you know, and just do something specific or something real deliberate. Go with a friend, you know, that seems to work real well for me. I have to get my chat window back. Scott Patterson dropped in. Let's see. What? Am I dropping frames? It says I dropped 12 frames so far. I don't know how many I've run, but it's only showing, it shows I have dropped 12. Interesting. Well, I'm glad you didn't leave. I'm rendering it, and it's me, so I'm gonna have to bug out of here. Good seeing everyone. It's not in the moment. Catch y'all later. Oh, okay. Where do you get the energy? Oh, cocaine works. I have never seen cocaine with my naked eye. I've seen it, you know, represented in TV and in the newspaper, but that's always a good joke, you know. But no, I've never even seen it, much less had an opportunity to use it or whatever. But you know, it's just a joke. But honestly, we have actually cleaned up our eating. We've become vegetarian and not eat meat. Has really, it's improved a lot of health issues that I was running into. A lot of problems just kind of wandered off, and now I don't have problems that I had. And it's interesting to see that over the past 6 or 8 months now. Several things that I was starting to worry about have corrected themselves, and Teresa has a diet that involves a lot of kale and a lot of spinach and a lot of water, and it just works. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. Let's see. C says, Photoblog is cool and I have read it but didn't know about the ham. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that I'm spreading the word a little bit. There. That would be fun to see what the star filter set I use would do with all that light. Yeah, that would be epic. Kiosks are awesome at night. If you saw the other stream from the other week, I shot a kiosk in Hilo, Hawaii that was at night in the rain, and it was lit up and it was glorious. The picture was just beautiful. It's saved on that hard drive that's not currently plugged in, and I have all the ports taken up, and I don't know if I can run it through the hub. Probably can, but the load times would be atrocious. If you go to my Instagram, I posted it on my Vero and my Instagram. I can't readily show you that easily. But if you go to the Instagram, do it on your phone so you don't lose the stream. Cuban Rum says, I didn't notice any drop frames. It says I have dropped 12 so far, and we have been streaming for 45 minutes at 30 frames per second, so that's 1/2 of 1 second. Yeah, I don't know when it dropped them, but it says it's dropped 12 frames. It counts them on the little OBS software. Well, as soon as I typed I was leaving, David quit cutting out, so sticking around. Ha! Okay. Ray says, that would be something to see with the star filter set would. Said I'd use. Okay, Ray said that. Oh, I thought Scriptwig. I'm sorry, Ray. Yeah, dude, that would be epic. I'm catching up. C2C says Leica is releasing 3 new cameras for 2024. I haven't seen any camera announcements. I've seen where they dropped 2 aspheric lenses, like a little bit less expensive than their other ones, and then they dropped that big, that big 100 to 400 millimeter beast that they made. It's an enormous lens. I'd like to know how many focus motors are in it, because the 24 to 90 that's right back there has 2 focus motors in it to move it, and the 90 to 280 I think has 2. But that thing's huge. You know it's going to be beautiful glass, but good Lord, I'd like to know if they've got it to where it can focus fast enough to just actually use it. And then they come out with a 1.4 teleconverter. I saw that, so you can get almost 600 millimeters out of that big lens. Water is key, and I suck at it. Yeah, every time I get my mason jar of water out, everybody's talking about moonshine, moonshine. I haven't drank moonshine since I was in my 20s. I learned how they make it, and if you don't know what kind of still they're using, that crap's dangerous. So, and some people don't use the greatest of equipment. Lead solder, radiators, all sorts of terrible things get used in the manufacture of untaxed alcohol. So I'm not super interested in drinking it no more once I learned all that. Yeah, I haven't done that in ages, like literally a quarter century. But yeah, I drink lots of water now, lots of coffee. Probably not good for me, but I like coffee. Normally I would have coffee in here for the live stream, but I'm trying to cut back in the evenings just to try and keep it runs my blood pressure up at night. For whatever reason, during the day, coffee doesn't bother me and I don't have blood pressure issues with it, but at night I do. And I think it might be because I'm sitting more. I don't know. Something's going on there with that, but yeah, it's kind of strange. I can feel my blood pressure rise, so my ears will start burning. They'll just get hot. That's how I know. And then we can check my blood pressure, and it'll be up. It'll be significantly up. That's interesting. I had one other thing. Transition. This is what come up, and where I saw this was on Instagram. NASA posted this photo on their page. I follow NASA on Instagram because NASA has the coolest cameras, like literally ever. And they posted this picture of the next 2 eclipses to happen. One happens this year in October, and one happens next year in April. And the October one is this one coming down this side. This one here is that Ring of Fire eclipse, where it's gonna be where you can see a little bit of the sun around the moon, and they call it the Ring of Fire. It's over here. There's a little description of it. And then the other one is a standard total eclipse with totality, and that's the one that was like the 2016 one. Pretty sure it was 2016 we had that totality eclipse I photographed, and it's passing through. It's going to run over it's almost going to pass over Bass Angler. I think it is going to pass over Aaron. I think he's up in here somewhere. But it's far enough away from me that, it's an 8 or 9 hour drive to get into the path of totality no matter what. So I might not make it to this one. I don't know. We'll have to plan a vacation for it if we're going to go. Go stay a few days. That way we can actually be there the day before, rest up, shoot that day, and then the next day. I don't know what time of day. Oh, it says it right here. 2 o'clock Central Daylight Time. 1:55, 1:50. Man, it covers ground quick. In 10 minutes it crossed the entire state of Arkansas. Man, the moon's moving. But yeah, it's in the afternoon. That's a good time of day for it too. Right over Central. Well, you know what'll happen? It'll be raining that day. Since it's going to happen in April, it'll be raining. Need to go down here in South Texas. That way it won't rain. The Ring of Fire, since it's going to come across like Utah, there ain't no rain in Utah, as far as I'm aware of. Yeah, you go out to, Monument Valley, that'd be dope. It looks like it's going to pass right over Monument Valley. It's going to pass over Zion. Zion's in that part of Utah. That's going to be something else. Yeah. So I wanted to share that because I just thought, maybe some people that haven't ever photographed an eclipse would like to go photograph one. And this is your opportunity. If you're going to shoot this one, they say you need solar film because the sun is partially exposed throughout the entire eclipse. But this one, you don't need solar film as long as the moon is in totality, because the sun is not shining directly at your camera sensor. So you do get the corona shot in a total eclipse. So and that's what I photographed back in 2016. I have a big print in the living room of that eclipse where I photographed it with the D810 and the 100 or the 2-500. That's what I had that day. Took a beautiful photo. But yeah, I didn't have any solar film, so that's what I just did it during totality, so I wouldn't run the risk of being with my eye looking through the camera when the sun was looking straight in it, But anyway, yeah, there's that. Turn back over to me, and I'm back. Let's see here. Let me go back to my chat window. Oh boy, there's some stuff happening. Ray said he had to stop drinking coffee by 3 p.m. or he don't go to sleep till 3 a.m. He has to have time to burn that caffeine off. Yeah, for me, coffee drinking was kind of part of my life at one point because I did industrial maintenance, and me and my buddy Trey, the guy that I talk about some with my radio stuff, me and him are big amateur radio together. We got licensed the same day together, We've known each other for 30 years. It's been a long trek with Trey. But me and him worked maintenance together. We've worked together for significant periods of time. And we would drink coffee at like 9 o'clock at night. We'd go up to the canteen. They'd be shutting it down, about to pour the coffee urn down to drink. We'd be like, can we just have some of that? They'd pour the big gulp 32 ounces full of it and send us on our way. We'd drink that crap. Been sitting there cooking 3 or 4 hours in that heated urn, and then we'd drink it at 9 o'clock at night. It was just crazy dumb. We shouldn't have been doing that, but we did it. And then I'd come home and go straight to sleep. Scott Patterson said, sold my D850 picking up a Z9. Hope it's not a mistake. It is not, because the guy who posted directly above you in the chat, Ray Soldano, has one. And Ray can testify to the fact that that camera is all it's claimed to be. That thing is epic. since it don't have a shutter mechanism, it's literally a silent camera. It may have shutter sounds. Ray can confirm this. I'm pretty sure it does. So, you know, kind of like a smartphone does, so that it makes a sound if you want it. But he runs his silent. You don't even know it's taking pictures. And he'll put it in continuous auto. We'll be doing street photography, and he'll hypers on the focus, or he'll run the auto continuous focus, and he'll just hold the camera and be firing frames off. No one knows it. It's pretty cool. Hassan's got to go. All right, good night. Thank you for stopping in, Hassan. I appreciate it. You've been here since the beginning. You were the first comment. Take care, dude. Road trip to Monument Valley. That's what I'm thinking. That would be cool. But that's in October. That Ring of Fire is happening in October, so. Dallas area, huh? I'll look it up. Yeah, they're actually, both of them are going to cross over San Antonio. So if you go down to San Antonio, you can see them both. Just north and west of San Antonio. Let's see. Let me see here. Whoops, wrong one. There we go. Let me bring it back. Yeah. Let's see here. Zoom in. Yeah. It barely clips San Antonio. But you can see if you go, you know, the apex is in Texas, just a little bit west of San Antonio, out in the countryside. There's got to be a town there. I just don't know what it is. But yeah, halfway to Del Rio. That'd be basically where you go between San Antonio and Del Rio. About halfway. You'd be in totality in both of them. That'd be cool. But yes, let me see. Let me move back to my chat. Yeah, Ray chimed in. He says it can make sounds. He says, but he turned it off. I have never heard it because he's always run it in silent shutter when I'm around him. He's been doing all sorts of interesting photos here lately. He started doing portraits, and they're pretty cool. You know, this is a sports photographer, and he's gotten into portrait photography. Fake shutter sounds. Yeah, because it has no shutter, and they knew people would want it. We actually all thought that the firmware update coming out was going to have the meow in it, but it didn't. So we were all sad. There we go. But yeah, that's pretty glorious. Let's see here. Hey, we're right at an hour too. Interesting. You guys have any questions? I went over. Oh, I had one other thing I was wanting to show you guys. I thought this is pretty cool. Somebody I seen had one of these little widgets. Okay, what this is it's a SD card reader that you can plug into your smartphone. This one in particular fits an Apple iPhone because that's what I use. But I'm pretty sure that you can get them for Android as well, and they just probably got a USB-C connector on them instead. But this, I was curious, and I experimented and tried it. I ordered one just to see, because they said you can plug it into your iPad and basically import your photos into Lightroom through your iPad with it. Well, I just plugged it into my phone. Let's see here. Let me show you this. Let me get my phone unlocked here. I outrun it, so sometimes it doesn't work. Okay. What we have at the bottom here is you got 4 buttons. Oh, wait a minute. You got 4 button options at the bottom. Okay. Let me see here. Wrong way. There we go. See how you got 4 button options at the bottom of the screen? I plugged this thing into the phone, and then I put a memory card in it. Well, I plugged it in backwards. Let me turn it around. I don't think it matters, but okay. What you'll notice is there'll be a 5th one pop up. You see where it popped up there? Right here it says import. If I click that import, that's the memory card. And there we go. That's the memory card that's actually there, and I can pick the pictures, and then I can actually import those photos to the memory card on the camera. I thought that's pretty cool. But yeah, it allows me to get to take the high resolution images. Whoops, let me fix that. There we go. No, right there. It allows me to fix the high resolution images right off of the camera and put them in my phone, and then I can edit those and put them on Instagram or whatever from my phone real easy. Right? Yeah, that thing's really cool. So if you want to do phone-based edits or phone-based social media pics or what have you, of course Ray's got this really cool system where he's got it cabled into his phone's cabled straight into his Z9, and it communicates them to the cloud, and he's very technically affluent, by the way. He's freaking crazy smart. So, but for us average Joes, this is a pretty cool little widget. And I carry this thing when we go on trips just for that, just so I can steal a photo off the camera. Yeah, matter of fact, where's that there? There's the original photo where I was telling you about the kiosk in Hilo, Hawaii. And then, you know, there's the edits where I ran them through so I could put the border on them so I could share them on my Instagram and my Vero account. But that's, and I just was able to put the memory card straight in here and grab the JPEG straight off. You know, the Nikon RAW files the phone don't recognize, but it recognizes the JPEG. So I grabbed the JPEG, edited it, and used it, and off I went. But that's pretty cool. But yeah, if you've never seen that, that's pretty cool. Let's see. Ray says he photographed adult kickball games tonight. That would be fun. I think that would be kind of fun, just to be honest with you. Let's see. No. It looks okay. I'm in focus, ain't I? I think I am. It looks like I am. There we go. Alright. Scott says, I'll only use it for wildlife shoots. I don't know, dude. Ray was only going to shoot sports with it. Now he's out shooting street photography with it and portraiture and everything because it's pretty awesome. That thing takes insanely good photos. It's got me wanting one. I wanted to put it with my 500 phase Fresnel and a 1.4 teleconverter, which I also have. But if I can get the Z teleconverter, I don't know if it would be better to have the Z tele or if the F mount teleconverter snapped in there works. I don't know which one will be better, because I got a good teleconverter. I will buy a Z9 for the meow. Yeah, really. That'd be pretty epic. I mean, that would seal the deal for a bunch of people. But they're already selling them as fast as they can make them. So it's kind of a moot point. You know, you don't see them sitting on the shelf very long. They just sell, they're moving. You know, this is their flagship camera, and they're selling them insanely well. They've done a lot of things right with this camera. I'll just be honest with you. Just to jump on the Nikon hype train for a minute. It took them a while to catch up in the mirrorless game. You know, they let Sony get out in the front pretty good, and Sony is still way out in the front. Don't take this as me thinking that they're catching up, because they've got a long way to go to catch Sony. Even Canon, that still has a long way to go to catch Sony. I'll just be honest with you. Sony has a significant lead on everybody in this space. So if you want the best tool in mirrorless, you're going to need to go to Sony. It's just a fact. They've got the stuff. I mean, everything they do is just epic. I don't care for Sony cameras myself because the ergonomics don't work right. But they're great machines. A lot of people do wonderful things with Sony. But now, Canon kind of got up the speed a little faster. But Nikon, once they kind of got their, I'd say once they got their feet like set so that they could launch on their foot race, they set it very well. And you know, the first two Z cameras were kind of mediocre. They were okay, but they weren't great as far as focus stuff and all that. But man, this Gen 2 one and then this Z9, they have literally hit home runs with all of them. It's just insane how good that how fast, you know, it's the whole Moore's Law almost of just this camera launch, of how every generation is like a order of magnitude better than the next one. You know, it's just like crazy how good these cameras got so quickly. You know, even my little Z50 is a great little camera. It's sitting over there somewhere. Oh, where is it? I don't remember where I put it. I don't remember where I put it. No, it's not there. I got the memory cards out of it because they're right here. I don't know. It's here somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, there's the memory card. So I know I've had it recently. It's in this room. I just don't remember where. Oh well. That's kind of weird. Oh, it's up there with the 500 on it. I see it now. Okay. All right. Crisis averted. But still, someone was joking or saying that with the release of this new glass, that they're getting into position to have a D500 replacement, and someone was talking about how that might be the Z8. I don't know, but it's looking real promising. Ray says David has so much camera gear he can't keep track of it. I have 3 digital bodies that I use. One's videoing right now. The other one is in my hand, and the third one I lost. So I have thinned out the stable. I've gotten rid of so much equipment, and I still have so much up here. There's like a dozen lenses in these little cubbies or more, and then there's some over there, and 2 or 3 over there. There's a bunch in that cabinet, and there's one down here. Ugh. The Pelican case. I have something made out of pure hen's teeth. The 200mm Micro Nikkor. The macro lens to end all macro lenses. I keep it in a Pelican case. This is the product photographer's dream lens. This thing is insanely sharp. The rendering is beautiful. The focus is like this whole, the front half of the lens is the focus mechanism. And it goes almost a full revolution to focus. Of course, it's screw drive focus, so it's manual focus on all of my cameras now, but you manual focus macro anyway. So I don't know why that was ever an issue, but this lens is stunning for product photography. That's what I kind of bought it for, and I used it for that for a long time. Still do if I need to do some really good product photos. But yeah, you know, I've got this crap everywhere. So like Ray said, got so much gear, forgot it, lost it. Let's see, what have I missed? Ray says, next time we get together, you need to bring the 500 so we can see what it does on the Z9. I agree. And I'll bring that 1.4 tele I have. You got the Gen 2 FTZ, I think. I don't know if they're electrically any better, but I know they don't have the little flat bottom. So, I mean, I've got an FTZ on this lens, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, if they're the same, then that's it. Cuban Rum says, I know street photographers that use Z9. Yeah, Ray does. You know them in Miami that do. Wow. I mean, it's a beautiful camera, and it's not as big as the old flagship D3, D4, D5. It's a little bit smaller. It still has the grip size, but it's thinner and it's lighter because of it being mirrorless and shutterless. Since it take all of that mech out, the camera got a lot smaller. Cuban Rum says, I want that lens. Not that one. That one's mine. I bought mine off eBay, so I didn't get the full kit. There's supposed to be a bunch of more stuff that came with it that I didn't end up with because of that. There's like a lens hood, and there's a tripod foot. Mine's got the bolt, but I don't have the tripod foot, I think. And there's a few little accessories that you can get with it, and I didn't get those accessories because I bought mine on secondhand off of eBay. Ray says, nope, he's still running the Gen 1 FTZ. Alright. Haven't bought a Gen 2 yet. I haven't found the need. I mean, for no more lenses that I'm going to adapt, the one I have works perfectly. David has so much camera gear, he can't keep track of it. There's some truth in that. I want a second one, even though the Z6 II is a very capable second body. You can probably clone it to a memory card and make the second camera an exact copy of the first one with all the settings and button arrangements and everything. So it doesn't matter which one you pick up, they're the exact same camera. And that would be cool. If I was shooting professionally and I was gonna like wedding photographers will carry a 24-70 and a 70-200 on two separate bodies, I'd have two of them. I absolutely would run identical bodies with identical setups with just two different focal length lenses. And because you want to eliminate all of the extra thinking so you can focus on getting the photos if you're shooting event photography. But you get the point. But yeah, I see why it would make absolute sense. Cuban Rum wants to sell some of his gear. I don't buy that for a second. It would give me more finger space when shooting vertical. Interesting. Oh, because it's got the built-in grip, yeah. I've done stayed up late enough. I'm yawning more now because it's late at night. That adult kickball would be fun. I went and did amateur radio today after I worked all morning up till about 2 o'clock. I had a lot of stuff to get done. Just a bunch of chores. But yeah, let's see. Have I caught up everything? You know me too well. Yeah, I thought so. Cuban Rum has to have all the cameras. Let's see. There was an announcement. What was it? I was gonna. Nope. What am I doing? Let's see. Go back to here. Oh. Knock on Rumors posted an article about speculation about their idea of the Z8. I got to read it, but I haven't read it yet. But yeah. I don't know. If I'm going to get that close to a Z9, I'm probably just going to get the Z9. I mean, at this point in the game, people have gotten comfortable with spending $5,000 and $6,000 on a camera body. They really have. I mean, that's the reality of it. $2,000 and $3,000 has become the norm, and $5,000 and $6,000 has become the high end, but not the unreachable. That's the bizarre part. I mean, people are still buying these Leica M6 and M11s, the new M6 reissue. That's a film camera that's fully mechanical. It might have a light meter in it. I'm pretty sure it has a light meter, so it has a battery. But it's the exact print from the M6 of days gone by. They just pulled the prints out of the print file and started making them again. This camera is $6,500, I think, and that's without a lens. I mean, that's the body, and it's a film camera because people want them, and they're comfortable with paying that price. It's not unrealistic to ask it. Now, what I don't see, I'm throwing some speculation around here a little bit. I see a lot of SL2Ss, SL2s. I bought mine on the used market, so it wasn't full price. But you see those kind of expensive flagship kind of bodies, whatever, however you want to phrase that. But you don't see a ton of the Canon R-mount flagship bodies. You'll see one occasionally, but you don't see a lot of them. Like, you haven't heard all these reports about how they're selling out of the, what is it, the R3, I think it is. Like the Z9 is selling as fast as they make them. I wonder what the deal is with that. Because you know the Canon camera is a super capable machine. I mean, Phil Thatch has been making wonderful photos with his Canon cameras here lately. You know, so the machines will do the work great. I wonder if it's bad marketing on Canon's part, and they're really pushing the other models instead. That's got me wondering that. I'm gonna have to do a little research on that and see what I can come up with, because that's got me curious. Ray says, I'm still shocked I sold my D850 and D500, but they just collected dust after I got the Z9. That's why I haven't bought another camera body yet. The Z50 normally sits here where this camera is. And the only reason they're switched right now is I was working with that one from coming back from the trip. I took it to Hawaii to shoot wildlife with, which I saw almost no wildlife while I was there because it rained the whole time. And that's a story for a different day. I really need to sit down and just make a video and tell that story. But I dropped the SL2 onto the webcam mount, run it through the CamLink capture card, and turned it into video and into a webcam. So it's like the most expensive webcam in the history of webcams. But it's actually working really good, and I'm powering it off of this USB power pack. It's got a battery in it, and this has in-camera charging. And I was curious if with the power pack, if it would extend battery runtime. We have been filming for over an hour now, almost an hour. Well, an hour and 17 minutes is the runtime, and the battery is probably still showing 100% because it's drawing straight off this power pack. That power pack's down to 88%, so it's working great. You could probably get like a iPad charger, and it would be enough to drive it. I haven't tried that. This works fine, and it's pure DC coming out of that battery, so I just figured I'd run with that. But I've got the video or the audio because of the Zoom call Saturday. There's an audio delay that I'm not sure if Zoom has fixed. This is another question. But long story short here is the SL2 ended up being a webcam for the time being because I got the Z50 up there. But the Z50 normally does webcam duty, and I normally shoot my photos with these two, you know. But I've got it minimized down to where I'm not just letting camera sit, because my D810 just sat in the camera case, and a couple of the other ones that I sold, that I just never used them. They just sat around, and just like you, I just didn't want to see them go to waste. So I did the same thing you did. I just sold them. I honestly think that's a better thing to do, unless it's one that's not got a lot of resale value, and then you can give it to someone who's just getting started. You know, like Phil's got a couple of cameras with like busted hot shoes and stuff, and nobody will really give him nothing for them. He can give that and like a simple prime lens, maybe even a vintage manual focus lens, so they can just take photos. You know, there's utility there. Let's see, let me get back to the chat. Yeah, I sold some F-glass and it hurt. That's what C2C's Disciple said. I sold a bunch of my old Pentax glass on eBay. Some Yashica glass. I still got most of it, but I sold like the duplicates. I bought so many lenses on eBay that I started getting duplicates, and I had multiples of several lenses, like 8 or 10 sets. So I pulled all them dupes out and sold all the ones that I wasn't going to ever use, and I kept most of the ones I am going to use. I mean, I kept the ones, you see what I'm saying. Scott Patterson says, yeah, up here in Canada, the Z9 is $7,000 Canadian plus 13% tax on top of that. Wow, 10% would be $700. So you're looking at almost another $1,000 in tax. Man, that's crazy. That's significant. But people are buying them. I mean, you see people all over the place shooting with Z9s. Not enough megapixels for marketing. Oh, that's his reasoning for the R3 not getting the marketing, not getting the, whatever you want to call it, the press. Ray says he sold his D850 to a photojournalism professor at UTC, and the D500 with a Gen 1 Sigma 120-300 went to a photojournalism student. Sold it all for trade-in value because of where they were going. Dude, that's awesome. Because yeah, you would get the same money either way. And this way, you know these people are getting something that they can use. That's a good idea. That's a really good point. Now, I understand how Roberts and Use Photo Pro and KEH and all them operate, and they do provide a strong service. They create a place where buyers and sellers can meet to buy and sell camera gear. And it's a lot harder without them. You can do it, like Ray had a place to actually liquidate these cameras, but a lot of people don't. So that creates a convenient route to do that. But if you've got somebody local to you that you could put in it, and you know you're only going to get this much money if you send it to Use Photo Pro, why not sell it to those other people that can actually appreciate it and use it for the same price? That's a good point. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, like C2C said, that was generous, Ray, for giving, good for you, way to give back, basically. And, yeah, well done. C2C says, I still got a nice collection, though, of F-mount glass. Whoo! I have so many lenses. I have gotten to the point where I have multiple mounts. A lot of my lenses are M42 mount. This is one of my favorite. This is a macro lens too. This is the 100mm Honeywell Pentax macro. This is the one I normally shoot product photos with that are big objects, so I don't have to move around so much. Or it does real good detail photos, but when you can, that's a lot of zoom. Yeah, this thing is a very sharp little lens. But yeah, I have a bunch of M42 mount. And I have my F mount stuff. This is I think this is a 50. Yeah, it's 50 f1.4. This is an early one. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's pre-AI. It don't have the AI milled notch in it. But this is a cool low light lens. There's so much. There's a Leica R mount back there, and this is my landscape lens. Up till recently, the 20mm f2.8 Nikkor. I still use this lens. This lens takes stunning photos. Some people don't like them because they have issues in the corners, but I've never seen a picture I've taken with them where it was a real problem. But yeah, this is, like I said, the shelf right behind the camera is just stacked full of lenses. Let me see what I missed. Ray says, check your local university. University. Is that even a thing? Check your local university communications program and email them if you're looking to sell some good used stuff. Okay. So this is stuff I never learned because I never went to university. The only times I've ever been on college campus was with Ray. C2C says, I'm a collector though. LOL. Never had a D700 or a D3 coming up, so I bought them years ago for dirt cheap. But yeah, collecting dust, but we'll mess around with them every once in a while. There's no rule. If you like them to be dusty, they're your cameras to make dusty. That's the beauty of it being your property. Do with it as you choose. You know, there's no judgment here. Most of these lenses see very little service. 99% of the stuff I photograph is now with this lens, that 50, and this little 35 from time to time, because I want a smaller, lighter lens. You can see how much smaller it is. This lens is a great walk-around lens. It really is, from what I'm doing, just like general street photography. I've got the 17 millimeter, which looks almost identical to this. It's a 17 f1.4, and that's a nice aperture to have. It's kind of like the manual version of that 16 millimeter f1.4 that Fuji makes, or 16-1.2, I don't remember. They got a real fast 16 millimeter prime. It's a lot like that, but it's small because there's no focus motor. And like I said, it's in one of these camera bags. I don't remember which one. I think it's in the shoulder bag. I think it's in this one, actually. Yeah, here it is. There it is. See, it's got one of those TT Artisan caps on it. Yeah, look at this. See? See, they look very similar. You can see the 16's a little bigger because it has to have bigger glass to make that curve. But yeah, that's a cool lens. I like it for street because the field of view simulates a 28. You know, 27, 28-ish, somewhere right in there. But I can't put a lens hood on it because it's such a wide angle. These lens hoods vignette terribly on it, so I don't have a lens hood yet that I can use with it. It would need a real shallow one or one with notches, you know, and it's a screw thread deal. But that's why I don't have a lens hood. That's a cool lens. I got that one second-handed for like $100. They're super cheap and they're nice glass. If you're an early adopter of TT Artisans, you got in early. If you like manual glass, it's good stuff. Ray says, I know a guy that is doing great photos coverage and covering drag races, and he uses a Nikon D3. No, he has multiples, D3 bodies. He likes them because they put out good files and he can get them cheap now. Good point. The guy that works down in my shop, one of my machinists, started doing a little bit of real estate work. And he was also shooting like the high school and rec sports. His daughters are in it. So he bought a D5 off of eBay, and it wasn't super expensive. And he's been using it and that 2 to 500 he got from me, and he's been photographing the sports, taking beautiful pictures. He's good at it. He's been doing it enough that, well, you know who it is, Ray. It's Keith. And he's been using the D810 to do the real estate stuff. But yeah, he got a D5 pretty cheap. I don't remember what he paid for it, but it wasn't super bad. That's a good point. F-mount cameras are still great cameras. Nothing wrong with them. I'm using an F-mount lens right now. I have the 24 f2.8. It's an AI. It's not an AIS. I've got adapted to this SL2. So I got this vintage 24 millimeter on here. What I like about the manual lenses on the videos like this is it doesn't do the focus hunting. The only thing is if I want to focus close on something, I have to manually drive it in and then focus when I'm done, but it works, you know. Ray says the 2-500 was just too slow for me. He seems to like it. Now I'll tell you that 500's it's a beast. I'd like to see it on your camera too, because on the D810 it was super fast. I used it down in Florida a couple years ago when me and Delphin got together, and that dude, it worked like a charm. Well, for football and soccer it was slow. It worked fine for softball. Okay. I mean, it has its place. The lens works great for certain applications. It worked great for me when I was like photographing surfers. You know, you got a lot of distance. You're already stopped way down. I mean, the depth of field is going to be really good, even shot wide open, because they're so far away from the beach. So I had real good luck with it, using it for that. And you know, we've seen people that take great photos. You took great photos with yours. Keep looking, keep watching the chat. We're 1 hour and 31 minutes into this stream. I'm gonna need to wrap it up. Yep, because it's bedtime. I got to get up in the morning and go to work. I was planning on the stream lasting 1 hour, and now we're an hour and a half into my 1 hour stream. Oh. The most expensive Morse code practice key in the history of Morse code practice keys, I'll turn this, is this. This is a vintage Ten-Tec Morse code key, and I've popped it into a Polk Audio bookshelf speaker. There's no telling what this speaker costed when it was new. It's a 2-element speaker, but yeah, a really expensive Polk Audio speaker, so I can run my practice oscillator, because I'm going to teach a class on Morse code coming up at the local ham club that we have here. Yeah. This thing will actually, I used it on my radios. This is a great key. It's not as fancy, or it's not as elegant, that's the right word. It's not as elegant as like the custom keys that I have made that I put on my radio. Like, this is my more industrial style key. I made this one in the machine shop. That, you know, it has, all it is 2 switch contacts. You have a dash and a dot contact, but yeah, this was like the prototype. This was the very first one I made. Yeah, it's serial number 1. Yeah, and I use it on the regular. The really fancy one's over on the other side, but the cable for it plugs into the back, so I can't really show you without like it being a big deal. The Omni 7 has a key input on the front of the radio, so I was able to unplug it easily. But I made all this kind of stuff back in the day. Morse code keys. I made that out of scrap brass. That's why the bearing pillars are above the lever arm. I should have milled them down lower, or at least radiused them, and I didn't. I was in a hurry. This thing works really well. Hell, the bottom of it still looks like the brass bar stock, where I didn't bother to like polish it or sand it like I did the top. I made this thing ages back. It's over 20 years old. You can see it's not hooked up very often. I get it out for special events and use it for stuff, but most of the time it just sits up there and decorates that VHF radio. See the C's out. Ray, I had still the focus on the DSLR better because I knew what to expect better than the Nikon mirrorless until I got the focus thing figured out for working at event venues. That makes sense. And okay, I am going to drift around on that a little bit and talk about that before I sign off. Good night, C2C. But I paid attention for a while. There was about a 3 or 4 year period there when like a bunch of our family's kids were growing up and getting married. So there was a bunch of weddings in about a 3 or 4 year period. And we were going to these weddings, and I was looking to see what the wedding photographers were using and making kind of mental notes of it. And it was shocking what they were using. In like 2018, there was a lot of Nikon D300s that were still being employed to shoot weddings. You would see a lot of screw drive focus glass was still kind of common. Like mostly the zoom stuff, but you would see some primes occasionally. But most of them would shoot a 24-70 and a 70-200. You know, the earlier ones, a lot of times, like the D300 and the Gen 1 autofocus 24-70, that was pretty common. A couple of them had D3S's or D3s, I don't remember for sure. There was one that shot Canons, but I don't remember what they were. But it was like a 5D. It was an early one. They were almost all early model cameras, and I could only guess the reason is because they were fluent in the use of the equipment. So it made, you know, the work easier for them to do. It's just that simple. If you can simplify the workload, people will, you know, you got to make the workload easier on yourself. That's what I'm trying to get to. And it was something that I was seeing a more common theme, and there was a lot of Nikons being used. Nikon dominates the wedding photography scene around here. I was surprised at how many of them use Nikon cameras. Cool. All right, well, I'm going to sign off, guys. It's been a lot of fun. We've talked about all sorts of stuff. We've talked about lens hoods and little vintage lenses, and we've talked about memory card readers and a good book. If you haven't seen The Americans by Robert Frank, I highly recommend it. If you're into street photography, this is more of a documentary photography / street photography themed book, but yeah, well worth it. If you're into photo books, especially, you gotta have a copy of this book. We've talked about my cameras, we've talked about radios, we went over my website, the Eclipse information. We've talked about, it's been a pretty strong variety show tonight. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups. Probably from drinking that water a while ago. Okay, but until next time, this is David, the Georgia photographer. Get your camera out and go take a picture with it, all right? We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye. Now, I gotta stop the stream.